Okay.
I couldn't handle. Yeah, that's
It's actually
too much.
very annoying, but like the way that this is set up, like one does the stream to YouTube, one does the sound, like the songs, and the other one is what I use to see you guys, and that's how the sound goes into board. Like it's a whole thing, which is why like we always have issues because it's like these are also our personal laptops, so you take them out. And then anytime you have to record, which in this house is like every other day, you have to bring everything back, plug everything back in. Like it's such a nightmare, but we'll figure it out one day. Okay. You guys ready?
Yep.
Cool. I was just testing it. All right. Welcome, friends, to House Meeting Podcast, the podcast about Big Brother. There are many, but this is the best one. What's going on, Ellen? Oh, I don't have... there we go. What's going on over there?
Jake.
We have an interruption so early on in the episode. I love it. Whatever. That'll give me a moment to let you guys know to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. But don't just find us, also rate us, because that's really important in making us feel good. Also, we are on YouTube. And so we do our best to let you know when we're going to go live on YouTube. So follow our Instagram for that information. And we're there now. So, but I guess if you're listening to this, then we're not there now. Now that's existential. Anyway, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to talk to us directly, you can email us at housemeetingpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, our favorite place is patreon.com/ears. No. Patreon.com/house meeting. That's where you go and give us money because you are enjoying us and we love you for that. Hi guys. Welcome to Friday.
Yep. I actually had a lot of fun with Big Brother this week.
Yeah, it was if you take it into your own hands, it can be fun. And that's what I'm kind of discovering. This week was not exciting to watch on TV, but you make it fun. I think it can be fun if you either love somebody that's there or if you hate them. That's the way that you can make it fun because then at least there's something interesting to watch.
I think for me, I did think it was fun on TV. I like the silly bits that they fit in. I like the check-ins.
Wait, can we pause for a second? Something's weird with your mic. Are you not close to it?
No, I'm right. I'm literally almost kissing it. Move
back a little then.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, I don't know. You're very low. Sam was normal.
Is my...
You're good. Yeah, I can hear you. Ellen, talk.
Hello, hello, hello.
It's good there. Maybe just up the energy a little bit, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
It's weird.
I'm in the same spot that I always am. Should I just start over?
Yeah.
I was more referencing I actually liked this week because I actually liked it on TV too because I like the little bits that they put in. I like when Big Brother has to do a lot of editing to make it fun because I think they are funny.
Oh, and that's true. That's a good point.
I like all the little bits. I like I do like the jury house check-ins, but it is so scripted sometimes that it's really embarrassing to watch.
They weren't.
Yeah, they weren't.
This week it wasn't most interesting, but
yeah, but the main thing I liked was that it was a new person in power, and that in itself, just given this whole season, made it so much more fun than almost any other week. To be honest, I thought it was really fun because all the weeks were disappointing from week one with who won and what was going on, and just having somebody new doing something different was kind of fun.
Yeah, I was pretty excited just because Memphis and Christmas were on the block. And I
Yeah, that was the whole.
yeah, even up until last night, right before one of them went home, right before voting, I was like, I honestly don't care because one of you is going home and I don't like either of you the same amount. So, but let's talk about Monday a little bit. So the HOH comp was what looks like incredibly difficult, but also a very cool comp, which is like taking the balls from the basket and then you have to walk over a seesaw and put them in a basket and then walk back to get a new ball, but none of your balls can fall out.
It looks impossible, actually.
It does. Like,
It looks so frustrating.
yeah, like I can totally. So Christmas got very close. She was on her last ball, and one of her balls knocked out. That's just the game. Sorry, Christmas.
Yeah.
Like,
It
you
was,
lost.
It was great. I cheered.
It was so
I
fun
know.
to watch.
And I can definitely understand her frustration. Like in the moment, like she was very close. But also to be bawling your eyes out after there was at least a good 15 to 20 minutes between the time that happened to her and the time the competition was over, and yet she still get over it at some point.
It's not even being a baby, it's being just like a child.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like learn how to lose. It's okay. Like, she was also her attitude was kind of like, it's not fair.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it actually is fair. Everybody had the same game in front of them. Like, it could have just as easily happened to Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an element, which is what I've been saying this whole time is my favorite, are the comps that have a little bit of randomness, which is that you can just barely move and the whole thing could make you start over.
Totally.
So you can't just be amazing at it and win. It's a little bit of a lottery because everybody's fell out at one point.
Yeah. Enza was so bad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it's not that it wasn't fair. She had the same thing as everybody else. And she was acting like, it's like, woe is me. Big Brother doesn't like me. And it's like, no.
Yeah, wait, didn't she win a challenge by default by not being picked until the very end? And like, that's fair to her?
Right. Yeah, that was fair to Davon, for sure.
That was
an HOH.
Head of household.
Yeah.
So she got to be head of household the whole week, and she obviously like just relished in that so hard.
Oh yeah, she was wearing that robe constantly.
Yes.
And she did it by not answering one question.
Right. She's pretty ridiculous. But it was, speaking of like being ridiculous, also like I was really happy that Nicole showed genuine like happiness at winning. But then after that moment, all she did was apologize for being happy for herself. And I was like, oh, God, like, and it struck me, and this is very sad if this is true, but it struck me as someone who has been abused.
Yes, it's a classic codependent reaction. Like, I'm happy. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry that you're not happy because you lost, but I am. But you know what? I'm actually not that happy because you should be happy and it shouldn't be me. And it's like,
yeah, it actually, like, at first I was like, oh my God, Nicole, just like grow some. But then I was like, oh, this is actually kind of sad. Like, she feels very guilty for having done something good. And I was like, poor.
Is it partially like jury management too? That she
I think
doesn't
so.
wanna rub it in anyone's faces too much. Because as soon as she did finish, she was like, yeah! Like, she really went for it, which I loved. I thought that was great. But to some degree, I think she also like really realizes with Christmas specifically, she couldn't rub it in even the slightest, or like they become enemies again.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a codependent move that comes from Christmas's instability rather than Nicole's. It's like she's maybe just like an empathetic person that recognizes that Christmas is crazy emotional and like super, super overly sensitive about things.
Yeah.
That she's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you have a definitely a good point there. Because Christmas definitely feels like she's like one word away from like falling off the edge, and like
at all
times. Yeah, she's definitely a little nuts.
They all say that all the time too. They're always like, well, Christmas is just crazy, so maybe we should put her up.
Well, she named her kid Loyal.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, you have to be insane to name your kid Loyal. Anyway. There was another
And
part.
she said, wait, she explained this week too in the diary room that it's because she wanted him to grow up to be loyal, I think. was,
Yeah,
like,
and I was
As
like,
if that's not clear
the
already.
explanation.
right, and
And also, like, you think the name is gonna do it? Like,
totally, like, oh gosh, it's
I'm gonna name my child billionaire.
Yeah,
and I
right?
can grow up to be rich,
I guess it's a
and I will
pretty.
have to do nothing.
I guess it's a pretty normal name next to Christmas.
that's a good point. Her name is Christmas,
Great
so.
point.
I think because her parent, I think she explained this at some point in her previous season. Like her parents really liked Christmas, I think.
Yeah, because I
Like-
was like, oh, she must have been born on Christmas, and I actually looked it up in the last episode, and she was born on December 20th.
Oh God, that's
like-
even like worse.
I know, somehow makes it even worse. It's like, well, if you either needed to not be born anywhere near Christmas, and it was just like a thing your parents liked, or you needed to be born on Christmas.
Yeah,
So,
like, do you think-
the 20th? It's
Maybe they
within
tried.
the
Maybe they
week off
picked
of
the
work.
name. Like, do you think they picked the name and then tried to like schedule
my
Yes.
the birth around it?
Yes,
and were like,
I do.
and then 5 days early, and they were just like, oh. God,
And you know
well,
that
we
they
have
were
to keep-
disappointed. Like she came out and they were like, "Oh,
That's probably
cool."
why she has issues, because she came out, she was born into disappointment.
Totally. Oh, see, now I feel a little bad for her, but
Now
but
we've
also
just
not
psycho-
really.
We've made up this
Analyze.
whole tragic backstory.
We've psychoanalyzed all of Christmas's brain emotional tendencies.
Yeah. Speaking of tragic, Nicole in Monday's episode took credit for Tyler going home.
Oh, I didn't even.
It was
really
in the
notice
it was in the
that.
DR, and I was so confused
Oh, yeah.
by that.
Yes.
I was like,
She was like, "You come for me, and I'll take you out."
Yeah.
And I was like,
I was like, what? But you didn't do that. Like, I did not understand how. I don't know what happened there in her brain.
But guess what? It doesn't matter, because if you can sell it to the jury that way, then you are good at the game and you win.
Yeah, yeah,
So it just depends on whether or not they buy it.
yeah. There's
Doesn't
currently
matter whether it's true.
there's currently a very large argument going on in our house, in my household, about whether Nicole is a good player or not. I hate to admit it, but I think she's very good at this game. My husband does not. And every time I'm like, see, that was a good move. He was like, that wasn't even a move. She was just laying there. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, since I was a kid watching this show, and I don't know that I still agree with this. Maybe I do, but I used to always very annoyingly assert that if you make it to the end, you did something right. And like,
Yeah.
even if they're just a floater, there have been some terrible players in the end, but yet are they really terrible? Because even avoiding everything, you did something.
It's a
So
move. It's a way to play the game.
it's a way to get, you can do nothing and get $50,000 because you can get second place by doing nothing. You can't usually win by doing nothing,
Yeah.
but you can get second place. So it's a way to pretty easily get $50,000. So if that's what you're going for, then yeah, you're playing a great game.
Oh, yeah.
I
But
think
also-
like the true.
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, I think the true like test will be is whether she takes Cody out next week,
Nicole.
which is her.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think her only chance now at winning is being up there with Christmas.
I think so too. I think she could argue pretty well against Enzo, but you're right. Against Cody,
Yeah.
she has
No,
no,
and I think
argument.
I think if she made it to, like they mentioned this week, if she made it to the final two, the sheer like impressiveness of making it to final two twice could potentially show people like what you were just saying, Ellen, that she is a good, no matter what, she has made
She
it to
did
that spot
something.
twice. Why not,
Yeah.
But I think like if the thing will show whether she's like a truly like clever player or like an organized player or something is if she goes for Cody hard next week immediately.
And
I feel
I don't
like
know how she's
she
gonna do
won't.
that 'cause she,
I don't think she will either.
No.
I think that
Bec-
their bond is so. I actually saw
Yeah.
right before we came on here on Twitter, there was a video of her and Cody talking, and on the live feeds, I guess, and they're talking about how they were practicing for coming into the house, and they were like doing their own little puzzles, or they downloaded apps for puzzles and to get your brain going or whatever. And Nicole or Cody was like, "Oh yeah, I knew you were doing that," and she was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He was like, "Oh, your mom told my mom." And she was like, "Why would she do that?" And then Cody was like, "Well, they're super tight." I was like, oh, your moms are really good friends? That's
interesting.
weird. Of course you both knew that you were going into the house. Like, of course you did. And of course Derek made this phone call that he claims he didn't make. And they're going to be solid to the end because that's what was predetermined.
I feel like there was a deal made that she made a deal to get second place. I think he might have said this. Like, I think that she's not planning. I think she did some deal with Cody where she's like, I'll be your second place person if you be my first place, and then we'll both get money, and I've already won this. So I don't know what kind of deal that would be, but I think that might be, I feel like that's what they're doing. And that's why whenever she says in the diary room, as much as I wish it was true, where she's like, if I bring Cody to final two, I'm just giving him the win. And she says it as if she doesn't want it, but I think it's pretty clear she's kind of just act like that's just the line to deliver.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but that would make sense. More so for Cody than her, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what she gets out of it, but
more sponsors, she thinks, but she really screwed up this year.
And also, I guess part of it is that it's hard as a winner to even make it this far. Like usually winners don't make it very far in All-Stars, or in just returning in general. And so I feel like being able to be like, have somebody be like, I'll take you there if I can.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and not just somebody, but one of the best competitors like that exists, to be able to make that deal with him.
Yeah.
And he'll keep you safe. I mean, that's a pretty easy way to get the $50,000.
Or to get yourself into that position and then let go of that deal.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
There's also that.
That'd be pretty cool.
So that's interesting. The only thing that we're still on Monday, but the only thing I also wanted to note was like, I wrote this down twice accidentally. Why doesn't Enzo lock the bathroom door?
Yeah, what is that? And why isn't that a part of the conversation?
Right. Why is everybody's yelling at Enzo, but they're not saying like just lock the door. Like, why?
Just like, everybody just walks in.
I know.
I've assumed there's no lock to this point. I thought that was like part of it was that there's.
But
just
you
no
could
lock
see on there.
It says like
occupied or not
Oh
occupied.
my God.
Like what are you doing? Is it broken? Like let us know, because right now I think that he's a creep and very rude. Just lock the door.
I remember when one of the early live feeds that I watched, I remember Ian being like, yeah, like the real big thing to remember is that you have to lock the door with the bathroom because everybody just walks right in.
Yeah.
So I do think it works.
Yeah. And maybe like at the beginning you kind of forget because when you're in your house, you like don't lock the door.
Yeah.
But like, dude, you're like
It's been
100,000 days into this thing. Like, stop. So weird.
It's really weird.
Well, let's move on to Wednesday.
This is the second time that we know of, right? Too.
Yeah, and it happened twice in the episode.
Twice in the episode, but it happened before too.
Oh, yeah.
It happened twice before. It happened with David and I don't know. It's like
Nicole
number 4.
again, I think.
Yeah. It was somebody that didn't listen to. I think it was Chris. Somebody didn't listen to. It was Nicole. Nicole didn't listen to David when David was like, "There's someone in there," and it was Enzo.
Yes.
This is a problem. With a very easy fix.
Enzo. It's not a problem with anyone else. It's a
No.
problem with Enzo.
Gosh. Anyways,
he thinks it somehow. He delusionally thinks that it's everyone else's issue. That everybody just walks right into the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like, no. I mean, there's a solution to that on your end too.
100%. He's ridiculous. I love him though. Then there's Wednesday. Wednesday was one of my favorite competitions, the comic book competition. So this was the first time that I think Sam saw it, but it's a pretty cool one. I think it looks very difficult, personally.
It seems,
Yes.
I can't believe they did it in some people managed under 10 minutes, which seems impossible.
I know. It's very hard. What I didn't like this year was that it was very clear that, to me at least, that production told them all to make fun of each other's comics, and especially the people that have gone. And it left kind of a bad taste in my mouth because I didn't feel genuine, or it felt, well, okay, I guess two things. It didn't feel genuine, but then when they did it, it also felt like they went a little too mean.
Yeah.
for no
I
reason.
literally said out loud as I watched that, oh, I guess production told them to be mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the first thing Cody did was take a dig at Kaser, which was just like,
I know. I was like, ooh,
it just hurts.
But people were talking, that one people were talking about on the live feeds. I know I'm not really supposed to say, but it doesn't give away anything. But they were all saying, like, why was Kaser King Kaser? I don't get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they clearly have no idea.
No
They
concept.
still have no idea the perception that America has of it.
I bet they were so confused why he came back to host the comp too.
Yeah, like, what? How
I
random.
was hoping so hard that they were just going to be like, he's just back. We've decided we're getting him back.
Like, he's just
There's no battle back.
There's no battle back. He's king, so he's back.
He doesn't have to earn it. He just drop him right in.
But
that would have been amazing.
I did love Nicole also being insulted. What was her? I forget what her cover was, but Janelle's was like so much better than hers. It was like so.
Oh yeah, the bombshell versus her cereal box.
Oh yeah, she was just a cereal box.
And they told her to like play that up in the DR, but you could also tell that she was serious.
That one was a little, that one hit home a little bit.
But
and Cody making fun of, or someone, maybe it might have been Memphis, but making fun of Keisha. I was like, he's just so, you don't need to, and it was like really, he was like, oh, I forgot she was even a part of this thing.
I know, like, who's that one? Like,
that's just,
what I don't understand though is what's the birthday girl?
From her season, she had her original season, there was a huge blow up.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. That seems a little bit.
She wasn't in the house long enough to have
anything.
I honestly don't know her personality. I don't know anything about that woman.
I guess what you just said is what they said in production. They were trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
What did David get? What was his? It was him growing a bunch of times, but I don't remember what the.
Oh yeah,
it was
I
like
don't
the
know.
Animorph style.
It was Animorph style, but I have no idea what he was called.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. Anyway, those are always really fun. I really like them. What Nicole won that veto, and one of the things that she said after she was talking at some point when she was in the HOH room talking to Christmas, and I'm still trying to make sense of it, but she was telling Christmas that, like, don't worry. I know that I was mad at you last week because you voted me out, but I'm past that now. I've matured since then. And I was like, do you know what that word means? Because I'm pretty sure you don't mature in a week. Like, you can move past it. You can not be angry anymore, but you did not mature. And also, you're Nicole. You definitely didn't mature. I was just like, sometimes, like, when she's talking, she just is actually a child trying to use big words.
It's
I don't know. That was weird. What else happened? Oh, Enzo and his stupid teapot.
Yeah, that's like, learn a lot about Enzo and his foot fetish friend.
Oh, that's right. There was that. There's been a lot of Enzo like personality stuff. Enzo and
because he's like the only like really outwardly fun personality in the house right now.
Yeah, I mean truly. And
Nicole's fun, but
no one likes her anymore. But
nobody likes her anymore. So they're like, okay, Enzo, I guess.
Yeah, and then like him using the teapot and like that whole thing. But it was funny just watching Cody just like make fun of him the whole time. I don't know.
I think what I like about it is I'm so bored watching the live feeds.
Yeah.
But I do like seeing their little like, I don't know.
Game talk?
Their personality, their game talk and their personalities coming out sometimes too. But you have to be watching passively for such a long time to really get something like super interesting right now.
Yeah.
And it's nice that the show, it's not that interesting about the teapot, but it is like a piece of his personality that they edit into a short thing. So I don't have to watch hours and hours of live feeds to like think and to like laugh at something about Enzo. Whereas like in the beginning, I could watch like 10 minutes and something funny would happen with somebody, but now it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that they're good at editing that kind of stuff. So even if it's as boring as that segment, it somehow was fun to me. But It was a stretch. It's like, wow, really nothing happened, huh?
Oh, I know. Like you can so tell in the editing that like they're just reaching for stuff. You
That
could
was
just
one of my biggest disappointments for this week was that like Memphis never caught on, and Cody and Enzo just lied to his face the whole week. So like we never got to see any kind of like fracture there. Like he was just blindsided and gone. I mean, to some degree, he mentioned in the interview that he like felt it coming, but I don't know. It's just like I wish we had actually seen the wise guys.
Yeah, and I guess we'll get to eviction, but we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But we didn't. He was blindsided. I liked that he was blindsided, but we
Yeah.
didn't really get to see a reaction because he played it really cool.
Yeah,
So-
I know it hurt him more that he was blindsided, but I wish we had gotten the drama of it fracturing in the house.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but I think I do agree with Ellen. It's always fun to it was so fun sitting there and watching both of them sit on that couch and Julie Chen go by a vote of 2-0, and they're both like,
Yeah.
like they
Literally,
both
Memphis
totally
sat
thought.
back in his chair, like he was kind of like. He was like all confident, like, well, get up, Christmas. It's time for you to walk out of the house.
Yeah, I know.
I
And
did love that.
it's just so fun to watch two people who are way too confident about their position in the house just get destroyed. But then on the other hand, as soon as that happened and Christmas gets up from the chair, and then I'm like, oh, she actually thought she was right. Like she doesn't realize at all that like she almost went home. And I'm like,
yeah, we didn't get it from her. And then he acted like, well, I like knew it all along. He acted like that until Julie asked him. She's like, because she even phrased it like, did you really know? And he was like, no, I didn't. And it's like, well, okay, well then why are you acting like this?
Because he's a total douche.
Yeah.
Like, that's his thing. But you know, since we're already there, let's before we jump into even more about yesterday's episode, let's talk to Ellen. We're gonna get this going.
All right, Julie Chen. So this week, Julie was wearing, I don't even know what you call it. I was a little bored. I'll start off by just saying part of my review already. I was just a little bit bored.
Okay.
It was a normal dress. That's great that she's proving to us she knows how to wear actual clothes.
That is a good thing.
It's good to know she's not gone that far off the deep end. I thought it was boring. She was wearing a red dress with it like kind of gathered ruche at the side.
Was it red? I thought it was like
It was
hot
like
pink.
I couldn't tell if it was red or hot pink. On Instagram, it looks hot pink. On my screen on TV, it looked red.
Interesting. Okay.
But maybe my TV's weird. Whatever it was, maybe hot pink, I would have liked it more. Maybe that would have felt a little bit more like. I did like her. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it would have said something because I like her chrome shoes. Is chrome the right word?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they look, and the reason I like them is because everybody always calls her Chenbot and references to her as a robot, and they look like they actually not only forgot shoes, but they forgot her like foot covering, her like skin foot covering that goes over her actual feet, and like those are her robot feet showing through.
Yeah.
And so it reminds me of like the true Tenbot. I like the shoes. And if it was the hot pink dress,
I'm pretty sure it was hot pink.
The conversation that hot pink has with like silver shoes like that is a lot more fun. It feels like Cyborg Barbie or something.
Yeah.
But I thought the fit, she needs a freaking tailor. She doesn't
Really?
have one.
Yeah.
You didn't think it fit well?
It is too big in the waist.
Yeah.
It is an inch or two too long. It's like the flattering part.
Okay, too long,
on
I
her
totally get.
body. It needs to be just below her knee, and it's like 2 inches too low.
Whoa. Sorry.
There's just something about it that felt big, a little big on her.
What do you think of
Like,
the
on her
asymmetrical
Instagram.
cutouts?
What? I didn't even see the asymmetrical.
You didn't see
cutouts.
that?
So she has these two diagonal
yeah,
cutouts
yeah,
at
up
the
here.
top. Yeah.
I thought I was matching on the sides. Yeah,
On the sides, yeah, that
It
makes
looked like somebody like slashed her.
Yeah.
Like it looked like she was like the cover of the Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just as much as there was stuff going on, even now that I'm knowing it's hot pink and there was that, it's just a little bit underwhelming, I guess.
I get that from your perspective. I felt like it was A plus compared to the last 2 weeks. I was like, if you're comparing, I was like, she did it. She's back.
If A plus is determined by whether your average Joe walking down the street would wear it, but for someone who wears like high end clothes and high fashion, it just looks like she got it. I bet you I could get a dupe of that from Ross. So that's why I felt like, okay, like I've seen a lady wearing this dress before.
Sure.
And I feel like on Julie Chen, I shouldn't be able to say that.
That's fair.
Should wow a little bit more. So.
All right.
Yeah,
so how many what's are you gonna give her?
Chrome
juice
stilettos. I would say 3.5 chrome stilettos.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It wasn't a terrible thing. It was just boring.
All right. Well, that brings us to Thursday. The main thing that I thought about while watching this episode is that I think the last entertaining thing about this show right now is actually that there are these really strong alliances like Cody and Enzo and Cody and Nicole, I guess. And so like even though then there's these kind of slightly larger alliances going on, they keep going back and telling Cody everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And I'm like, that's sort of entertaining that somebody like Memphis really truly believes he's running the house. And really he's not, because everybody's telling Cody everything already. And I think that's kind of fun to watch. Like, I actually, as much as I don't like Memphis, I think his idea, and maybe this has been done in other seasons, just not in quite the same way, but his idea of creating 2 final threes with 2 of the same people and having one person on the outside, I thought that was really smart. Because it's almost like he's in a bigger alliance, but they don't all know about it. And to call it the same thing and everything, like, I thought that was pretty creative, and I do have to give him credit for that. I think that was pretty cool. It obviously didn't work, but I really liked it.
Yeah, it was a cool idea, and his downfall was just not knowing how close Enzo and Cody were. You know, he just had no idea, really.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I mean, they didn't even really hint at that till this week for us that they had. This is the first time I've heard that they had a day 1 alliance as opposed to Cody and Memphis' day 2 alliance.
Yeah, I do remember very, very early on, like a very small snippet of like Enzo and Cody having kind of like this bro thing because they're both from New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's probably when they developed the alliance, but I don't know if we actually saw that.
Even if we did, we were so confused in the first few weeks of like what alliances were real. There were like thousands of alliances.
Totally.
So it just was too hard to know what, and like the show didn't even know which ones to air. Like they might not have even aired it on the actual TV show because they were like, well, we don't know which of these are going to play out. And so why would we air all of them when some of them are just going to be duds?
Yeah. Well, and then I thought it was very cool that Enzo and Cody, throughout this episode, they were going back and forth on should it be Christmas or should it be Memphis? Should it be Christmas? Should it be Memphis? And then they kind of both decided that if they both vote opposite, then they can put it all on Nicole. And I thought that was such a great idea. And I remember I was like, oh my God, this is how you play the game. Like, really good job. Of course, we found out later they didn't end up doing that. And that kind of frustrated me because I was like, oh, that was such a fun move. And then of course it's BB22, so of course you guys didn't do that.
Enzo keeps teasing us with these wild moves that he ends up not making last minute.
Yeah. It's kind of,
except for that one time when he did the Hinky vote like
that's true.
5 weeks ago.
Yeah. And that was just random.
Well, and that's the thing is like I understand why they always edit it to be, I understand on one hand why they always edit it to look like they're going to do the big thing. But at this point, when they never, ever do, it's almost like it just every week we're disappointed. So maybe it would be a little less disappointing if they showed us when Enzo changed his mind to not do that.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I understand that the better, more exciting story is if you're on the edge of your seat waiting to see whether or not Enzo does it, hoping that he does. But if you know we're going to be disappointed, and you know we were disappointed last week and the week before and the week before that, it's just like at some point, maybe you should just show us the real story, because we're just disappointed and people are dropping like flies from watching the show.
Yeah, the only way that I think it might be okay in this instance is that Julie Chen posted a video to her Instagram, and in it she said it was like a selfie video, and she was like, we are currently live on the East Coast. She was like, and everything in the house has changed. She was like, I'm not going to say what it is because you might not watch it right away or whatever. She was like, but we don't even know what's going to happen because the plan has changed. And so maybe that it really was the plan, and maybe Nicole got to them or something happened. I don't know. But like, yeah, it did. Again, it just fell flat.
By the way, I love when Julie says that, like on Instagram or just on the show. Yeah. I love it so much because I love the visual. This is just what I imagine. She's like in the control room, like watching the footage, and it's just like, oh my gosh, because she's such a huge fan, and I love it. I love when she talks about something and you could tell she's just geeking out.
Totally. I totally agree with that. Then later in this episode, we got a jury segment, which was a little less exciting than last week's, but a couple cool things did happen. So Davon confronted Tyler about his using the Black Lives Matter movement as strategy, and basically asked him, did you use that as strategy, or were you being honest? And he said that he was being honest, which was great. And I actually do think that the way he described it is probably what happened. It just was a very unfortunate series of events, and he really should have talked to Christmas first before going to Davon. Like that just should have happened. Yeah. He was kind of stupid. But aside from that, what I thought was interesting was before this episode aired, like I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, he was out of the house, right? And so they do some interviews, and in these interviews, people asked him that question, and he declined to answer. And like Twitter went nuts that like, I can't believe he wouldn't answer. Like, so he did use it as a strategy, obviously, blah, blah, blah. And my first inclination when he told Davon in a jury segment, I was like, oh, CBS told him not to answer that question in an interview so that they could have this segment. Now, I don't know if that's how production works, so that's what I was actually going to ask Sam. Is that something that like you could see them doing and being like, you can answer these questions on the interview, but don't answer that one because we have a plan for it later?
I mean, that's not outside the realm of possibility. They would absolutely try to keep something like that, but it's hard to really tell. Yeah. But clearly it was just like such a produced moment of itself. That like, I don't know.
It felt real on the end, on Davon's end to me. Like from her perspective, it felt like she wanted to ask the question, and maybe production told her, we'll wait to ask it until we do this. And she's like, fine. But it felt like a real question she was asking. And it did feel to me like, and props to her for this, because this is not how I am. Like, I wish I was more like her in this way. But she was just like, if he answers and says it, then I'm going to believe him. Yeah. And then it's going to be over in my mind. Because when he even said that, even during this very produced moment, I was like, okay. But then she was just like, okay, that's what I needed to hear. And whether or not it was like super truthful or produced or whatever, I thought it was very cool and big of her to just be like, all right, I'm going to take what I can get, and that's what I'm going to get, and there it is.
Yeah. And they hugged.
Is she going to potentially get the opportunity to ask Nicole about the flip-flop vote?
If Nicole's in the final two, she will. She'll have that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, they have like a question and answer. Yeah, that'll be an interesting.
That would be very interesting.
I think it's gonna be a really, really interesting finale.
I think so too.
For a lot of reasons. Like one, I mean, Nicole is becoming a better competitor. And here's one argument I have for Nicole as a comp, not comp beast, but as just a competitor in competitions, is that in the beginning of the season, Janelle made a comment. She was like, by the way, you guys, what Nicole is going to do is she is going to not win anything until the very end, the last few weeks, and then she's going to win a bunch of stuff because that's what she does. She rides the coattails. She said she rides the coattails of guys and then at the end wins a bunch of stuff for herself so that she has a resume. Mm-hmm. And that was actually the one nice thing in a way that Janelle has said about Nicole, because she's acknowledging she is good at competitions when she wants to be, and she doesn't always need to win them. And in that sense, I do think you're right. She is a good player in that way, because she's just like, why would I try if I don't have to?
Yeah, and she doesn't have to kick anyone out. Nothing has her name on it, like, until it needs to. And
she keeps things real clean for herself.
It is, and yeah, you're right. Janelle totally called it, and Janelle, at least from what we're seeing, and we're down to 4 people, she was 100% right.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting note. Then the jurors got their videos from home, which, I mean, okay, look, it was definitely a segment to fill time.
Because this never really happened.
No,
I
don't think they've ever shown the jury. Yeah, but I think also CBS knows that we care more about the jury than we care about the people in the house.
That's true. They normally do it for the house guests, and they didn't really do that.
At least not yet. Yeah, so that was weird. But
what were you gonna say, Sam?
Well, the other house guests get to like go back and see their families now, right? I'm just saying, like, now is a particularly like, because they had to probably quarantine before, and now they still haven't seen them.
It's been like months.
Oh my god!
At least 2 months more. I don't remember the date that it started, but I know it was
leaving
August.
Child for that long is so. I mean, they're not gonna remember it. All of their children are really young, but like
that's. But yeah, so the rest of the house guests that aren't in jury have seen their families, but yeah, it's been a long time, and I can only imagine, because you're not playing the game anymore, but then now you're stuck in the jury. You're just like stuck in this like paradise that probably like doesn't have all of that great of like probably just like hotel room.
And then like once a day you get called into a room to like do some really cheesy like staged moment.
You're like, why am I here? Are you paying me enough to do this?
I'm interested in Kevin's energy going into the finale, because he seems ready to like stir. He's like he's so mad at he's holding this it's fun to him, I can tell, but like he's coming into the jury intentionally with all these grudges that he wants to like excite in some way.
And he also seems very easily it seems very easy to persuade him another direction. He's like, okay, I hated Cody, but now I'm all for it, Cody. And it's
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Christmas also called it Ellen an exit interview. I don't know if you noticed that.
I saw that. I was like, what? Maybe I'm right.
Yeah.
I always think I'm wrong, but what else is it called? I still can't think of what else it is called.
I think it's just an exit interview. I don't know.
There you go.
The next HOH game is called Night Moves, and it was introduced by Kesar, which was fun to see Kesar again. Although I like Kesar better like on the live feeds than I ever did on the show. Like, he's not very good at like the DR. Like, he's not believable. He's not very believable as like the host. Like,
he's a little bit Eeyore like.
Yeah, but like on the live feeds, I liked him so much better. So even him like introducing the thing, I was like, he didn't do that great or anything. He's no Jeff Schroeder. But
by the way, I think that's why they made him King Kesar, because they were going. It's kind of like ties into chess.
Oh, could be.
Because I kind of wanted, before, when I knew it was going to be BB Comics, I was hoping, or I was kind of predicting that he would be some sort of like mentalist. What's the word I'm looking for? Is that the word? Like a psychic kind of thing, because he always like kind of analyzes people and then is like a therapist to everyone in the house. So I thought he would be some sort of like creepy, like spirals in his eyes kind of guy. And then he was the king, which It's not that I disagreed with that, because I do think he's kind of, if Janelle's the queen of Big Brother, then he's the king, but it was a little bit like out of the blue.
Yeah. I liked it. I think it came from it. It would have been so fun if Ian was there, because he would have 100% won that, or Kaser, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was fun, but the last thing that I have to say about this entire week, just because Memphis did go home, is that Memphis wasted his entire game on trying to get David out.
Yes.
He could have used his game, because he won several times, several competitions. He could have used that to get these bigger players out, but instead he got out David. And he spent at least 3 weeks desperately trying to get out David. And he 100% deserved to go home.
In some ways, I wished that he made it to the final 2, so that they're like, so what did you do that you think makes you worth winning the game? And he's like, I got out David. And
right.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Do we have a draft update?
Oh. That was one that I forgot to fill out, because I guess I'm not that interested, because
Wow, Ellen gave up because she doesn't care anymore, because she's out of it. I know I got points because Nicole won HOH.
Yeah, it was an all you this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week you were at 8 and Sam was at 13, so I guess you would be at 10 and Sam's at 13.
All right,
so,
that's pretty good. I'm creepy crawling up.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
Sam lost a player, so now Sam's at 2
people. Oh yeah, you didn't even update your board. Jeez,
Yeah.
Ellen does not care about this game anymore.
It's hard to run a game that you can no longer play.
Yeah, I guess so.
But hey, I could get some points for America's favorite player. I still wouldn't win, but
That's true.
I don't know who on my alliance would possibly get that. I guess maybe Davon. Davon could get it.
Yeah, was she on your team?
Yeah, she was on my team.
I think she's
I forgot I had Davon.
I think she's going to get it.
Tyler, Kevin, but Davon.
I think Davon's going to win that.
Yeah.
So you'll get a couple points.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's it. Are we done?
Yeah, I don't have anything else besides that. This is the first week that I also completely forgot to look up the spoiler of who won HOH. So we'll see if I can last long enough to just watch it on the TV show.
Oh, I totally know, but I'm not going to tell you guys.
It's been so long since I've actually watched the HOH comp, not known who's going to win.
But this is the only week where the HOH doesn't matter nearly as much as the veto.
Yes.
The veto. I think this should be the last veto, and they have all the power. So.
But it's a good HOH to win, because you can play the next HOH as well.
Yeah.
So you could do 2 HOHs in a row if you wanted. It's just safety, essentially.
Yeah.
But Cole can't play in next week's HOH, correct?
She can't play in this.
Or this current
This
one.
one,
That has happened already.
Yeah. So
that's disappointing, but.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna.
I was really proud of her this week, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't as horrible as a week as like somewhere in the middle there, where it was just so disappointing, but like because they're all gone now, it's almost like you reset your brain, and this week wasn't as bad.
Now I'm like, oh, I like Nicole. Like,
I know. I had that thought too, and I was like, oh no, go away, get out. That's not true. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for joining me today. Thank you everyone out there for also joining us. And thank you to Daniel for supporting us on Patreon. We really appreciate it. If you want to join Daniel, patreon.com/house meeting. And we'll see you all at the next house meeting. All right, guys.
Sweet.
That is it.
Cool. Well, I'm going to eat my sandwich.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.